Hey Toy Addicts, this is Jody, and this is going to be another What Sold video for my items on eBay that have sold in the last about 90 days, really basically since the last video that I made. Even though I intend to do them more often, it doesn't always happen. So let's take a look. I'm starting off here on a set of Shelby Foote, The Civil War, A Narrative, Complete Set, Volume 1 to 14, Time Life books. Now, Time Life books have not always been a big collectible. In fact, for years and years, you kind of saw them in the throwaway pile, but people are kind of starting to go back to them now. This set, I bought the complete set for $7 at an estate sale, and I sold it for $150 with free shipping, which I'm not sure how the free shipping got on there because I never do free shipping, but anyway, it's medium mail, and the shipping was like $14 or something. So let me stress to you though, if you do buy some Time Life books, they do a lot better if you have the complete set. If you don't have the complete set, you can't sell them individually though, but the complete set is best. Okay, here is a strawberry shortcake item. This was in my collection for a long time and I realized I had two sets. So this is a twin flat and fitted sheet set, and I took an offer, I believe, for $45. And here is some Clinique makeup. Clinique is always a good brand to pick up. Just double check that it's brand new in the package. I went to an estate sale, and they claimed they had hundreds of new in the package Clinique items. They had them pretty expensive, although I believe I paid $5 for this, but I opened a couple of the boxes and realized that some of them were used. And while I was going through several of the boxes, almost all of them were used. And so you can't sell used eye makeup on eBay, and you wouldn't want to anyway. And so I got this $20 for this. And I bought probably 5 or 6 items only at that sale, and I think I only have one left. Another strawberry shortcake sheet set. I also took an offer on this for $35. This is some doll shoes. Doll shoes are tough because you can sometimes, buy like a bag full of them, but you kind of have to know what they're from. If you know what they're from, then you can, sell them decently. This, I came in a box of doll shoes that I bought for $4. It was like a cigar box full of doll shoes. And I've probably made maybe $200 off of that box, but mostly because I had to do the research and figure out what all the different shoes were and wait a long time because I've had these for quite a long time. This is one of my paper dolls from the paper doll sale. Oops. Preteen paper doll. These little Peanuts dolls I bought for $10 each. I kind of paid up for them at a sale, and I believe I took $22.50 for each of them. And another strawberry shortcake item from my collection. This book, sometimes I don't even look at books at estate sales, and I know that I should. But at this sale, they had some interesting books, and I just saw the title of this. The books were like 50 cents each, and it was Missing Men of Saturn. So I thought, well, I'll test that one out. So I believe I got $15 for it. This is a cute Santa Claus die cut that has like a honeycomb fold out in the middle. His stomach and feet here are a honeycomb, and people really like those honeycombs. And then another paper doll set. This was a strawberry shortcake doll that was from my collection. I picked up this little calculator for $1 at a garage sale, and sometimes vintage calculators can do really well. There are certain ones that are worth hundreds of dollars, and so whenever I see them for $1 or less that I can tell that they're from the 80s, I usually just pick them up because they're usually at least good for about $10, which is what I got from this. And a little postcard. Now this right here is a Bath and Body Works candle. Their candles can do really well, the larger 3-wick candles. This one sold for $43, and it's the scent myrrh. It smells absolutely terrible to me. I'm not sure why someone would want it, but I picked this up at a Goodwill on the first day of opening for $6.99 and sold it for, I said 43. Another item from my strawberry shortcake collection, paring that down just so that I have space for some of the vintage stuff, and lots of little Christmas stuff, of course. That's the time. Another collection item, some books. I cleaned out some of my teacher stuff from my garage, and so you'll see some little school supplies and books and stuff like that. This is a little Susie Zoo set that I bought for $1. This sheet set here, you may have seen I did a short on this. I sold it for $135. It's Rainbow Clouds Kawaii twin full bed sheet set. It's the measurements were kind of in between, so I put the measurements on. I always put the measurements on with sheets because sometimes they seem to be a little bit bigger than twin would be, but a little bit smaller than full would be. So I put the measurements and let the buyer decide. But I got these in a free box from an estate sale, and I got $135 for them in like a day. So that was nice. I don't pick up a lot of VHS, but when it's sealed, I will. And I got this for $1 and sold it for $15. And then this was another item from my collection. Lots of strawberry shortcake collection items. This here is the base for the Precious Places Magic Key Mansion. I did a video where I bought not the whole, but most of the mansion at a Facebook Marketplace sale. I paid $30, and I have been gradually parting out all of the pieces because it has a ton of little pieces and lots of the pieces were missing. And there's some more of the pieces from the mansion. And here is the other candle that I got on that same day, the Bath & Body Works. This is a Sugar Snickerdoodle, $23, a little bit less than the myrrh, but still good for $6 return. Another paper doll set. If you remember, I paid a little less than 50 cents each for these paper doll books. And I still have a ton more of them. So, got a lot to go. Halloween item. This was actually, I think, one of my childhood plate sets, sold for $20, and this was a magical Burger King plush. Super odd toy, but and I bought it at the paper doll sale for $3. Another of my collection items. I seem to have had 2 of these. And here's a paper doll. And then we've got an It's a Wonderful Life Bedford Falls Martinis Bar Christmas Village from Target. These It's a Wonderful Life Christmas Village items sell really well all year long. This one sold in October, but last year I sold a whole bunch of them in September, and I didn't know why this one never sold, and then I realized it was because it wasn't listed. And there was a couple of other things I had that weren't listed. School supplies, especially vintage ones, do well. This is just a little pamphlet. I love ephemera stuff, and it only sold for $6, but I bought it in like a gallon Ziploc bag full of pamphlets and stuff for $1, so I have a couple pennies in it. And over here we have a Target Rainbow Calendar Pocket Chart. Target dollar spot stuff can get pretty popular, especially if somebody has done YouTube videos on it and stuff. People really want it. This one I actually picked up at Goodwill, and it was $1.99, that same Goodwill, the first opening day. And I just thought, oh, it looks interesting. I bet somebody would want it. I didn't even check comps on it, but it sold right away for $25, so that was nice. And this one is actually a cancellation. Somebody bought it, canceled it, and then somebody else bought it right away. So that's why there's a difference there. Here's a Nightmare Before Christmas mask my mom had in her collection. This is a totally random set of silly bands that I had in my teacher stuff. In my substitute bag, I usually take like little prizes and stuff if the kids are really good. And I had this whole thing of silly bands, and kids don't even know what those are anymore, so they never want them. So I thought, somebody is probably into those still. And I put it on eBay for $10, and there it went. Playmobil Roman Soldier. I bought a bunch of these at the Dollar Tree and did a unboxing video of all of them, this whole set. So if you want to see that, I'll link that above. This was awesome. I thought this is a paper McDonald's hat. This was in stuff that was in our attic. So from childhood, my brother had a birthday party at McDonald's. I believe it was his 7th birthday party, and this was in with that stuff. This is a Radio Shack electronic chess champion set. I believe this is from the 80s. I'm not really sure, but I paid $1 for it at a garage sale. So I wasn't sure if it was all there or anything. And there's actually a little door underneath that has the chess pieces, so they're like inside the box, and it seemed to turn on and work and everything, so that was pretty neat. Another school thing I had, this is a random necklace I picked up at a garage sale where everything was $1, and I thought it was pretty, so it went. This was in the same free box with that sheet set. It's just a little pin. Some stickers. I usually will at least look up stuff from Marjolaine Bastien, Nature Sketchbook from Hallmark, because people love that.
Next up here we've got a 16mm film, Ezra Jack Keats story adaptation of Apartment 3. It's a really cute little cartoon made for the school market. I have a lot of 16mm films, and so you'll see those pop up periodically. And I keep meaning to do a video about selling films, because if you do come across them, you shouldn't be afraid to buy them, and they can be some pretty good money. Next here I have a Louis L'Amour book. Now, I had been watching Commonwealth Picker. I've watched him ever since he started, basically. And he had bought a lot of 100 and some Louis L'Amour books, and he sold the whole lot for $1,000. So when I found a set at an estate sale, I got the whole 113 book lot for $20. And I wanted to also sell it as a whole lot, but it was taking up so much space and I was trying to move things around, so I decided I would start doing them individually, mostly because somebody kept sending me a message asking me for this specific book to buy for $125. So I had $1,100 on my whole lot, and I pulled this book out for him for $125 and still had the others listed for a while, and then decided, well, maybe I'll part it out. So I've parted it out now, so you'll see through here I've sold several of the books. Here's another one, Rowdy Rides to Glory. This one sold for $200. And no, they don't all sell for that kind of money. Most of the books I'm selling for $12.50 a book, but there's a few out of the bunch that are worth quite a bit more, and these two were the two most expensive. This is another Marjolaine Bastien item from Hallmark. I bought that at a sale for $5. She still had her tags, and I just thought she was super cute. Sold for $30. More Strawberry Shortcake from my collection. You know, it's funny because sometimes people will talk about purging things from their shop after 6 months or a year or whatever. I've had this pin for probably 5 years. And since I have a store that I have a certain amount of items, it doesn't cost me anything to leave things. And this is a small little pin. So while I did have it listed at $12 to begin with, somebody did finally buy it years later for $6. And I still have another one because I bought 2 of them. So if you're in the market for an Assassin's Creed Origins fig pin, come check out my shop. More of my school stuff. And some of the some fun Christmas stuff that I've had for a while. The Muppets Christmas ornaments I bought a couple of years ago. And was excited to sell a few of them recently. This is another one of those It's a Wonderful Life items, just one of the little characters. It's sold for $27.50. These, they're really, if they're not in packages or together, it's really hard to tell what they are because they aren't marked in any way. So let me show you if I can see. They're not well made. So that would be one of the hallmarks of these It's a Wonderful Life characters, is they're porcelain like a bisque, and they're not well made and they're not well painted, and they have no markings on them. So yeah. Good luck on trying to figure out what is and what isn't It's a Wonderful Life. But if you can, they do sell pretty well. This one sold $27.50, and the bubble was broken off of the card there. Some just miscellaneous stuff. This is another item. I mean, look at this background. I've been doing only white backgrounds for years and years, so I've had this a long time. And it sold finally. My philosophy is everything sells. It'll sell eventually. Somebody will see it and be like, yay, I want that. The prices might get low because you're discounting in them and discounting them and discounting them, but it'll sell eventually. I figure if I took the time and energy to list it, then I'm gonna hold on to it and eventually sell it. Here's another Louis L'Amour $37.50, A Trail of Memories. This is a fun hat. I think just because the subject matter wasn't great, that people weren't as interested in this one, but the ones that have the pom-poms on top usually sell pretty well. And this was some old art supplies that I had just gotten from someone for free, and old art supplies always sell for me. And stickers, it's just 2 stickers, little Susie Zoo stickers. This was interesting. I was at an estate sale and they had a whole box of these little orange boxes. So I looked inside one and I saw that it was like, it had a cross and it's sealed so you can't open it. But it's like anointed oil probably or something. So there was somebody next to me and they said, oh, that's like for killing vampires, right? So I put tiny bottle of Holy Land oil water with golden cross for vampire killing kit. I don't know. But I bought 2 of them and they both sold for $10. These 2 are towel sets that sold from the sheet sale video that I did during the summer. And actually, these have been selling to the same person every once in a while. She's been buying sets from me. So you'll see more sets in here that are all similar to this, all by Fieldcrest. And the same person, has bought all of them over time. There's another one of the It's a Wonderful Life items. I think that's the last one. For whatever reason, I just had a few that didn't get listed. Little Tikes Dollhouse stuff the prices have risen on that lately for some reason. I sold this vacuum for $17.50. I've had a few other items that have sold for pretty good money, and those are just still out there because they're so well made. They last forever. They're going to be here for a long, long time. More school stuff and another 16mm film. Another paper doll set for Barbie, 15 bucks, and some stickers. This is Tom Peterson, is a local furniture store chain that is actually closed now, but in the 80s was very popular. He had a lot of commercials, and a lot of times if you see things with Tom Peterson on them, people will write Kurt Cobain in the title, especially watches, because Kurt Cobain who is from the Pacific Northwest, had a Tom Peterson watch on when he died. So all the pictures of the suicide pictures of him that are shown, in the 90s after he died, he's wearing that watch. You can visibly see it. So Tom Peterson is forever attached to Kurt Cobain in that way. More Christmas stuff. Of course, Christmas stuff's going to sell this time of year. This is a cut and sew fabric panel, so you don't really see these that much anymore, but they were very popular in the 70s and 80s, and whenever I find them, I usually, can buy them for about 50 cents, which is what I paid for this panel. And although they usually do take a while to sell, they always sell. This was another railroad pin that was in that free box. Boy Scout book. More strawberry shortcake stuff and another sheet set from that sheet sale. I've noticed that I've been selling vintage sheets, for years as one of the things I started picking up, but the sales on them have really slowed down a lot. So I don't know if more stores and companies are coming out with more vintage looking sheet styles and maybe vintage feel sheets, but that market has really slowed down a lot. More strawberry shortcake stuff I had, and school stuff. I love these old pencil boxes from the 80s, the school pencil boxes. This G.I. Joe was cool. I picked him up at a sale, an estate sale. I believe I paid $6 for him, and he's a Japanese pilot. In a recent video where I talk about how the car was fully loaded, it was an estate sale haul. I got a whole bunch of candy containers, and this one here was the first one I sold, so you'll see a bunch of candy containers coming up. Fruit bubblegum. They look like Band-Aids. I remember my sister having this, and this sold for $35. So, and it's still sealed in there. Of course, you can't eat it anymore, but it's from 1992. Some just things from the attic. Again, here more candy containers. These were glass candy containers, and they're probably from the 70s, and they're little actual hurricane lamps, so you could put oil in them, and they do have wicks and everything, and they're probably, well, it says 4 inches tall, so those were really interesting, and the set of 4 of those sold pretty quickly for $50. I love looking at and reading old magazines. This is a Better Homes and Gardens from the 50s. This was a big copy, so it was really heavy, and magazines do not go media mail. So I think the price, I usually will sell Better Homes and Gardens from the 50s for more like $10, and I think this one sold for $6 just because the shipping price was so high. And then this is a Le Sport sack purse. In the last video, I showed you quite a few of those that I've sold. I bought this at this and a bunch of other Le Sport sack purses and tote bags at an estate sale for $10 each, and they were all brand new. And then I also sold separately the cosmetics bag that went with it. More candy containers, More candy containers. This one kind of surprised me. It's the miniature dinosaur toys, and these are like 1 to 2 inch each dinosaur toys. And this is just, I had a few bags of these in my daycare stuff, and so when I was looking up prices, I was like, wow. And this actually ended up selling for $30. And I have a few still that I think maybe I probably priced them too high and I need to bring the prices down. But yeah, I was surprised at how much just generic dinosaur toys were going for. And then this is a little ship candy container, and that's a postcard. And I've showed you guys before in a video how I will, if I get a book that is, especially some of these old 50s, 40s, 30s kids books where the graphics are really cool on real nice thick paper, but the book isn't necessarily in good condition, I'll bring it home and I'll cut out the best pictures, and then I'll sell them in these scrap lots. And I can usually get, you know, depending on the book, maybe 3 or 4 lots per book, where if I had sold the book, if the book was in nice shape and I sold the book, I might get $10. But then in this case, I'm, you know, if I had 3 lots for this book, I'm going to get 27. Now, I won't cut up a good, nice book, but, you know, if the covers are torn, if there's a lot of crayon marks throughout the book, you know, there's pages missing, whatever, which you often see with these books, then I have no problem cutting them up and selling them for crafters. This, I used to have quite a collection of pug stuff. I had a pug in the early 2000s and had just gotten rid of the last few things. This was Percy from Pocahontas. More candy containers. This was a random Radio Shack beach ball I picked up a while back. This is a Topps Pick and Choose bubblegum candy container. That's just a nose. And these are some Chalkware ballerinas that I picked up at a sale. I got these also in a free box. They're Christmas light glass, Christmas light covers. They're pretty generic. They didn't have any markings on them or anything like that, but I got them for free, so heck yeah. Another sheet. This was pretty neat. This came with the Car Was Packed sale. It's Fairy Winkles, which are kind of about the size of Polly Pockets, but they're like little babies. They look like little babies, little baby fairies. And so that sold for $85. That was a nice buy. Paper doll books. This random shirt that I've had forever. They picked up at a garage sale for $1. And always check the bathroom at an estate sale. I got several bottles of Chantilly lotions and perfumes and stuff at this sale for $1 each. And a pretty generic Disneyland hat. These paint fan decks always seem to sell well. I think crafters use them a lot. This one was partially cut up and not in great shape, and that's why it only sold for $15. But I've sold some of these fan decks, even from in the 2000s, for like $30, $35. And then some old contact paper from the 70s that I bought for $2 a roll. This gal is a composition doll. Now, if you remember, if you watched the video of my Buddy Lee doll that I found, he was also a composition doll. So this gal came in that estate toy buyout, and she was in not the greatest shape, but she's like a hula dancing girl, and you put a key in her belly button, and she dances. And she sold for $125, which was neat. $12 for some Cabbage Patch Kid or My Child socks. Another set of those towels from that same Inspire, and some 3 catalog pages from a 1917 catalog that I have. I have taken, it was a 1,500 page catalog. I have probably sold 200 or 300 pages out of the catalog, but all in this same way, 3 pages, 2 pages, 5 pages at a time. And again, I wouldn't tear apart a 1917 catalog if it was complete, but it's missing quite a few pages, and the covers were gone, and the way I got it, it was just tied up with string, so to kind of keep it together. So I separated the pages into like things, and it's slow sellers, but people love that kind of stuff. I thought this was hilarious. Vintage Halloween Advertising, Swift's Premium Franks Weenie Witch Party Book. So it just shows you different games and stuff you can play for Halloween. And then it shows you how to turn a hot dog into a witch for a Halloween centerpiece. It's pretty funny. More strawberry shortcake and stickers and paper dolls. You're kind of seeing a theme in here of stuff I've had. This came in that lot of stuff. Most of the stuff, I paid $500 for the whole lot, and I'm saying for most things I paid about $2 per item. So you've already seen a couple of pretty good items from that lot already. Here's another of the Le Sport sacks. This one still had its brand new tags on it, and since the cosmetics bag was still attached to it, I went ahead and sold them together, and I believe I got $80 for it. And some postcards, more strawberry shortcake, a random Coca-Cola Central Catholic High School football schedule poster from the 70s. My mom collects Coke, and she had picked this up at some point and decided she didn't really know what to do with it. And so I was like, well, somebody will buy it. And guess what? Somebody bought it. Another of those sealed VHSs that I picked up, and some more strawberry shortcake. In this lot of the estate clean out, there was all kinds of books and records, and so you'll see some of those coming up. She was from that estate lot, as well as this Dino Pooh mini Jurassic droppings popping candy container. So yes, you put the candy inside the dinosaur, and you push down on its head, I think, and it poops out the candy. I don't know what the obsession is with poop these days, but it's kind of gross. Another sheet set and another towel set. This is a really neat book from that lot. It's a Cinderella book, but it has like gold sort of gilding on every page. It looked really neat. I also found a whole bunch of Santa Claus and Christmas die cuts at an estate sale a while back. And I like to sell die cuts, but they can be a pain in the butt to ship sometimes, especially when they're this big and you have to get like some really big cardboard to ship them flat. This was from the estate clean out, both of these actually. This was a kind of cool Army men set where the Army guys they're flat. Let's see if I can get a close-up picture here. You see them? They're flat. They're not like your regular plastic Army men. So I thought they were kind of interesting. And this was actually a set you would buy out of the back of comic books. And this is a record tote that has a whole bunch of records in it. Another candy container. Charm and Chatty Kathy doll. And she actually came with little records that you would put in her side. Most pull string toys, especially from the 70s, 80s, and even 90s. They actually have records inside. They have like a little record player, which is interesting. Also from the estate, this item here is a Victorian trade card that is in pretty poor condition. You can see from the background, again, like I said, I have probably been using a solidly white background for 7 or 8 years. So that tells you how old this is, and it's probably 10 years it's been sitting in my shop before somebody finally saw it and was like, yes, I've been looking for that, or that's cute, I want it. So, you know, if it's small and it doesn't take up any space, like a trade card like this, about the size of a postcard, I'll just keep it forever. This is a Fisher-Price Elizabeth Lapsitter doll. These were popular, very popular in the late 70s, so I still come across these once in a while. Not usually in the box, but I do still come across them at thrift stores and stuff. And of course, it's made by Fisher-Price, so it's made with good materials that are meant to last forever. And Fisher-Price stuff from the 70s and even 60s, it just lasts forever. And a My Little Pony carrying tote. I bought a whole bunch of these mugs at an estate sale for $1 each, and I've probably only sold 2 or 3 so far, but they'll sell eventually. More candy containers. This was an interesting Bucilla knit Afghan blanket kit. So I think I paid $4 for it at a sale, thinking, you know, people love their Bucilla kits, and this was different enough that someone would be interested in it. Some old Christmas cards and a toothbrush. Yes, this is a 1970s Tech Hard Deluxe toothbrush, and it sold for $13.50. I bought it for $1. And this is Sweet Pickles Loving Lion. He's another one that I've just had him forever and ever and ever. And he's been on my shelf, and I was kind of sad to see him go finally. And as you can tell, I have, for some reason in this picture, he's backwards. This is the back of his legs. So I don't know. You can tell from where his tail comes from that it's backwards. I don't know why. I don't know why that happened. More candy containers. A Vogue Dolls catalog from 1985, which, you know, if I have catalogs, I've probably scanned the whole thing and either made a video or put it on my blog. So if you want to see this catalog, check in the description down below for my other videos, because I'm pretty sure I did a video on this one, and you can see the whole catalog. Unless it's a catalog like this. This is Sears catalog. I did not scan this whole catalog. I didn't scan any of this catalog, actually. This is like a full-size Sears catalog from 1902, but in 1960s and the 70s and even the 80s, they were doing reprints of some old Sears catalogs for some reason. It's interesting. It's very interesting to look at. But whenever I see these, I pick them up because they always usually sell for around $15 to $20. Some stickers. Here's another Time Life set. I believe I sold this one for $125. There's 23 volumes, and again, just like the other one, I paid $7 for it, so I didn't pay much. So that was a nice score. Rice-A-Roni kitchen timer. These must have been pretty popular because I do come by them every once in a while. I think this is, I don't always buy them depending on the price, but I think this is probably the 3rd or 4th one that I've sold, and I got $15 for it. This was an interesting little set. This is World of Miniature Bears. This bear right here is, anyway, let me show you a closer up picture of her. So it's a tiny bear. This is like 2 inches tall probably. And she's a jointed bear. She's got little leather on her hands. She's signed and dated, and little leather on her feet. And so these little World of Miniature Bears sell for quite a bit of money. I sold this set for $32. Now, she's the only World of Miniature Bears. The others were just kind of generic. They came in a little bag together. But I was surprised that those World of Miniature Bears sold for so much. And some more books, just some book I had at home. And this is one from the estate sale lot. Now, this was a nice sale. This was also in the estate sale lot. It's a My Little Pony. She's much larger than a regular My Little Pony. She's 9 inches tall. Her eyes open and close. She has sleep eyes. And this one came with her diaper. And my mom repaired the elastic for me on the diaper so that the elastic was nice and tight. And I have a video showing how you can do that. Search the channel. They also came with a pacifier or a bottle, and I didn't have that. But the comps were kind of between $100 to $200, but none of them were in as nice condition as mine. So I just shot for the moon and I said $250, and it probably took, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks to sell. And then this is a Furby. He was a working Furby. Leopard, pink with gray fur. And here's another Furby. He also sold for $30. He's in the box. He's never been out of the box, but he wasn't working. I decided to test him, and he was not working. This was actually my sister's Fluffy Dogs from when we were kids, and it sold for $22.50. And then this was part of the estate sale lot, a Roy Rogers Stagecoach playset that sold for $50. And it was not in the best condition either. You can get pretty good money for these playsets if they have more of the pieces and stuff. This one was in my teaching stuff, and I was really surprised. It's just a book of different stencils, circles and shapes and letters and stuff. Spindex Thumb Ease School Tools Spiral Notebook. And it's small, probably only 4.5 maybe inches tall. Sold for $28 and sold pretty quickly. This Littlest Angel book was really cute, also in the estate sale lot along with this record. And it's from Avon, and there is a little angel plush that came with it. And if you have it with the plush, it sells for about $20 to $25. Unfortunately, I didn't have that, but this here Disney Princess set got returned because a person did not like the manufacturer quality, they said, which it's Disney, so I'm not sure what they were expecting, but baby food jars, I paid $1 each for those. And an old stationery set, another Furby, $37.50. Another candy container donut. This was a random thing I picked up in an estate sale bathroom, and I paid $2 for it, and it's an Oster heat massager, sold for $25. Candy containers galore. Some Fisher-Price toys. These were some Orange Blossom, the Blow Kiss dolls with repaired elastic that sold for pretty decent money. Another towel set. And another doll from the estate lot. This little chubby cowboy. I thought he was interesting. Another candy container. This is Mr. Bones. The candies inside are all shaped like skulls or arm bones or rib cages, and then it's inside a coffin. It's pretty funny. Here is another one that was pretty interesting and surprising to me. This is a J.H. Miller injected wax mold Brontosaurus figure dinosaur. So this is basically a Mold-A-Rama, if you've ever heard of those. It's like a machine that you pay, you know, whatever the price is, $2, $5, whatever, and it makes the mold there in front of you of your toy. And this is a really early version of it. I had no idea what it was, but I thought it was interesting enough that I tried to look it up on Google Lens, and I kind of got nothing. So I changed the lighting, and that's the thing about Google Lens is if you're not getting what you're looking for, change the lighting, change the background a little bit, and sometimes you'll get a completely different picture. So that's a little tip there for that Google Lens. And that ended up selling for $85. And then I had this Kewpie doll that I got from that estate. This thing was giant. So big and very heavy. And it sold for, it was 2 feet tall, but it just felt bigger because it's so chunky and it was really thick, heavy plastic. It sold for $150. I was glad to see that one go. More candy containers, more strawberry shortcake collection. This is a doll that I also got in that estate, and I put her on auction because I wasn't really sure. She's a Cabbage Patch Kids Little People soft sculpture doll, and I did a video comparing her to a regular mass market Cabbage Patch doll, and so you might want to check that video out. But these soft sculpture dolls can do really well. I've had one sell for as high as $300 before. There's another Furby. He was not working. He sold for $25. More candy containers and stickers. I sold a lot of like things recently. Some Looney Tunes comic books, Bugs Bunny comic books. I sold a lot, I think, for $9. I don't do a lot with comic books because there's just so many little intricacies in selling them that I don't know about, that I'm kind of afraid of not having a good customer experience because I didn't know about something that the customer was looking for, and then they're not gonna like it because I didn't describe it well enough. I don't know. Anyway, I just have to learn more about comics is the whole point of that. These are some old Nature magazines that sold for, I think, $13 for the lot of 4. More candy containers. And these little dolls I thought were really interesting. Their composition, they were composition. So not, they're not a glass. They're like a molded sawdust with a coating over them. And they kind of have these, odd sleeping positions and stuff. And I couldn't find anything about them, so I just, shot for the moon and said, I'll ask $50 for the pair, and I sold them for $45 in pretty quick time, too. Vintage baby blankets, I always look up because some of them will go for hundreds of dollars if you find the right ones. Another paper doll book, another candy container, more candy containers. This was my brother's when he was little. Another item from that same free box with the pins and the sheets. This was a non-sale auction. It's a candy container that's Halloween, but also Sanrio branded, which is a company that makes Hello Kitty, and some of their non-character items sell for pretty good money, but and it's from the 80s too, which can also denote pretty good money, but nobody wanted it at that price, unfortunately. And then there's another Sanrio one. This was a Fun with Dick and Jane book that also was in the estate lot. It was in pretty poor condition, but Dick and Jane books always go pretty quickly for me. So instead of cutting it up, which I could have done, I I went ahead and sold it anyway. It's a 1946 edition, so it's a little harder to find, and that sold for $13. And another film, a Gerber baby doll, more teaching stuff, and stickers, and candy containers, and dolls, and school stuff. More candy containers. I thought these were interesting. Pez, eBay Pez dispensers. They had a set of 4 there that was apparently limited to 5,000 sets. And so I had all 4 sets, but the packages, they were all broken off of the packages, and the packaging wasn't in great shape. So even if the packaging was in really good shape, probably the top end is about $50 for them. But they all had their plastic taped back on them, so they weren't the best. I thought these were super cute when I found these at a sale. They're just vintage Christmas tags. Somebody bought for $15. And this is just the picture that I have of the Louis L'Amour books. I did a variation listing. I did a listing with all the titles of the different books that I had available. And so, as you can see right now, it only shows 1 out of stock, but I do go through and take them off. So there's not a whole bunch of out of stocks that show up. Because one of the things about having these kind of listings is that if somebody searches for the title, if you still have it listed on here, even if it's out of stock, it shows up. And so that can be frustrating for people sometimes. So after I sell a few books, I'll go back in and edit it and take titles out. But I've probably sold about 25 or so of these books individually for $12.75 per book. Plus those ones that I showed you earlier that sold for higher prices. This was an interesting paper ambulance from World War I. And I couldn't find any information about it, so I just put $40 and sold it for $35, and it sold really quickly. And this was someone had just had some stuff stuffed in that estate lot, and I thought, well, this is interesting, and it says 1982, so let me look it up. And it actually sold for $18.50. So these Sleepy Time tea tins, they're pretty cute. And just some old silverware that matched. Not sterling or anything. And some Hart Family Barbie toys. This is a picture I had picked up a while back. Just a black and white picture of a dance recital that I thought was cute. Bought it for $1 or 50. No, $5 for $1, I think is what I got, because I had bought 10 of them, so I must have bought $2 worth. This is a time bomb game. It looks like a cartoony bomb. It's from 1963, and it's probably about just a little bit bigger than an orange, maybe. And I sold mine for $50 because the box was in really bad shape. It's torn in a couple spots. It's kind of smashed. And the fuse is breaking off here. But if you find one in better shape, you can sell these for up to $100. And all that it is you twist this little red cap here, and it starts a timer, and it's like hot potato. You throw it back and forth, and when the timer goes off and it's really loud, then you're out of the game. So it's really simple. And I'm not sure why it sells for as much as it does, because that's all there is. There's just this and the box. But I had listed it for $50, and it sold in probably a day or two. So I probably still could have gotten more than that out of it, but because of the condition of the box and the toy, I thought that was pretty fair. This is a Max Headroom candy container. Do you remember that show? I don't know if he had a show as much as he was on commercials and stuff. A couple books and a paper doll. Another 16mm film. Fergie Builds a Business. Another one of those estate sale bathroom finds. Skin bracer, burnished leather aftershave. Smells horrible, but to each their own. I just thought this was interesting when I found it at a sale. It's a Levi's store bag from who knows when. It didn't have a date on it, but I thought, well, somebody'd be interested in it. And it sold for $10. And then books from the sale. Somebody actually canceled this the second they bought it, so they must have bought it on accident. This is a little Polly Pocket that sold for $50. And this is a little toy called Teddy's Wonderland, which I know I've seen pieces and parts from this before, but I never knew. I always thought it was just kind of something generic. But it's pretty cute. Little houses with little roofs and stuff and little fencing. And there's little cars and trees and everything. And that lot sold for $35 in about 3 days. And then up to stuff I sold yesterday and today. A record from that lot. Some stickers. And a Snoopy pencil case. So that's it, everybody. That's a lot of stuff. It's a lot. I need to do these more often so the videos are not so stinking long. Thanks for watching. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye. Thanks for watching, and if you're still here, give me some sort of emoji in the comments. I want to see if anybody made it all the way to the end. Bye.